Welcome to One-Way Horror, your one route to horror, which you cannot return from. I am your host, Brad, and tonight, for episode 2, we delve into the rustling unknown, where the wind carries secrets and the tall grass hides things. Ever feel a prickle on the back of your neck when walking through a field? Tonight, we explore that feeling, that unease. We have tales of scary ghost stories, some, perhaps, even for kids. But don't be fooled. They linger in the mind. And then there's Hachishakusama, the 8-foot woman who chooses her victims. So settle in, dim the lights, and prepare to listen closely to the whispers in the tall grass. Let us begin our journey. The salt air hung heavy that summer in Pond Cove, Maine. You could taste it on your tongue, a constant reminder of the vast, unforgiving ocean that stretched out before you. They say certain places hold on to things, echoes of the past refusing to fade. Pond Cove was one of those places. Every summer, on a specific evening, the locals whispered of a light, a strange ethereal glow that emerged from the sea. Not a steady beam like a lighthouse, but something far more unsettling. It would rise a mile out, a shimmering orb of pale, sickly light. Then it would drift, slowly, inexorably, towards the shore, drawn to a single point. An old house, weathered and worn, standing sentinel against the relentless tide. What drew it there, to that specific spot? What secrets did those decaying walls hold within? The story always began the same way, with Jack Welch, a fisherman known for his solitary nature and his uncanny skill on the water. One evening, he was seen working on his boat, preparing for the next day's catch. The last time anyone ever saw him. The next morning, his boat bobbed gently in the harbor, empty. Jack was gone, vanished without a trace. And that's when the light began its annual pilgrimage. It would reach the shore, near the old house, then begin to whirl, faster and faster, until it became a blur of sickening green and blinding white. A low, buzzing sound accompanied it, like a swarm of angry bees vibrating in your very bones. Then, with a final, blinding glare, it would vanish into the old house, leaving behind only the smell of ozone and a lingering sense of dread. No one ever dared to enter the house after the light disappeared. Fear and superstition held them back. But I wonder, what would they have found if they had? Was it Jack returning each year, trapped between worlds? Or something else, something far more sinister? Something that still lingers in the shadows, waiting for the next summer and the return of the light. Is it possible that some disappearances are not mysteries to be solved, but warnings to be heeded? The night is far from over, and the shadows, they only seem to deepen. We've walked through haunted houses and faced vengeful spirits, but what about the innocent? Can a child's imagination conjure something truly terrifying? Or are some things simply born evil? Prepare yourself, because our next story is a ghost story for kids. And now, our next tale awaits. The sun dips low, painting the Maine coast in hues of orange and blood red. The air grows thick with the scent of brine and the distant cry of gulls. It is a sight familiar to the fisher folk of these parts, but sometimes, when the light is just so and the sea holds its breath, they see something else. Something not of this world. A shape on the horizon, forming slowly out of the mist. A ship, but unlike any they have ever seen. What ship could this be? Her timbers are gaunt, showing through the planks like bones beneath thin skin, like lean limbs through rents in a pauper's garb. The wood is old, weathered by countless storms and untold years. Tall masts pierce the sky, reaching like skeletal fingers toward the heavens. And sails, majestic in their spread, though torn and tattered by unseen forces. She floats shoreward, a spectral vision in the fading light. Silent, ominous, a ghost ship, sailing on a sea of dreams and memories. What tragedy befell this vessel? But here is the mystery. Here is the unspoken dread. No one can ever discern her name. Her port remains a secret. The flag, if she ever flew one, is lost to the ages. What harbor is she trying to make? What souls linger upon her deck? These are questions whispered in hushed tones in the taverns along the coast. No man can tell you where she comes from or where she is going, for she is the dead ship of Harpswell, a legend whispered from father to son. Some say she is a warning, a reminder of the sea's unforgiving nature. Others believe she carries the souls of lost sailors forever searching for home. But one thing is certain. If you see her on the horizon, bathed in the eerie glow of the setting sun, you will never forget it. The image will be burned into your mind forever. And you might find yourself wondering if the sea is calling you, too. Or maybe it is calling for you. Ah, yes, the innocence of childhood ghost stories, often masking a deeper, primal fear. But what happens when that innocence shatters? When the veil is lifted and we glimpse something truly terrifying? Are you ready to leave the playground behind? Because our next tale is not for the faint of heart. Prepare yourselves for a journey into the realm of truly scary ghost stories. And now, our next tale awaits. The old plantation stood defiant against the encroaching dusk, its white columns like bones reaching for a sky bruised with twilight. The owner, a man named Thaddeus, was a staunch believer in the Southern cause. He pledged to feed the Confederate Army, no matter the cost. Wagons laden with grain and salted meat rumbled away each dawn. At first, all went well. But then, the attacks began. Supply lines, ambushed, plundered, leaving Thaddeus seething with suspicion. Someone, within his own household, was betraying him, feeding information to the enemy. He watched his servants with a hawk's eye. Each whispered conversation, each furtive glance, fueling his paranoia. The air itself, thick with mistrust and the scent of impending doom. Could it be old Samuel, the groundskeeper, with his knowing silences? Or perhaps young Eliza, always lingering near the stables? But his gaze eventually fell upon Big Liz, a woman of immense stature and quiet strength. She moved with a grace that belied her size, her eyes holding secrets deep as the Mississippi. Thaddeus noticed she always seemed to know when the next raid would occur. Too much of a coincidence, wasn't it? He confronted her in the dead of night, the only sound, the chirping of crickets, and the frantic beating of his own heart. She denied it, of course, but he saw the truth in her eyes, a flicker of defiance quickly extinguished. He had her, dealt with, swiftly, silently. But did that stop the raids? No. They continued, even more ferociously than before. And some say, on moonless nights, you can still see her, Big Liz, her spectral form, gliding through the fields, whispering secrets to the wind. And if you listen closely, you might just hear the clatter of sabers and the thunder of hooves as the northern soldiers once again descend. Was she truly the traitor? Or was she merely a pawn in a much larger, more sinister game? The veil between worlds is thin tonight, isn't it? We've danced with shadows, felt the icy breath of spirits, but the darkness goes deeper still. Are you ready to face a different kind of monster? One that stalks in the daylight? Because our next story tells of a presence impossibly tall and terrifyingly patient. It speaks of Hachishakusama, the 8-foot woman who chooses her victims with a single, bone-chilling. And now, our next tale awaits. It was summer, a summer filled with the buzzing of cicadas and the relentless heat that seemed to cling to everything. I was visiting my grandparents in the countryside. Everything seemed normal until I started hearing it. A sound unlike anything I'd ever heard before. Pop, pop, pop. It was rhythmic and strangely unsettling. What will we uncover next time? What new horrors await just around the corner? You'll have to tune in to find out. Remember, once you enter one-way horror, there's no turning back. Until next time, stay scared.